In these problems, we have three fractions and we're adding and subtracting, and they've all got different denominators. And we're supposed to add, subtract all that together until we get one simple answer. So a lot of work to be done there. The general process here is we want to get common denominators first. So that's the first step, get common denominators. Once you do that, you can add and subtract. You can add and subtract the numbers on the top, put that over the common denominator. And then once you've done all that, you might have to simplify that fraction to put it in simplest terms. So let me show you how I would go about this. Actually, the method that the math book or the Alex people would tell you to do is to take each of these numbers on the bottom, the denominators, and list their multiples. So multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. How do you know when to stop? Well, I know when to stop because I see that 16 there. But you could keep going on for a while. Let's do 8. So 8, 16. I'm going to stop because I've got a 16 there. And then if we list the multiples of 16, we can stop at 16. The reason we can stop at 16 is we're trying to find one that they have in common, and it's 16. Now, I don't go through this step every time. Sometimes I do, but with this one, 2, 8, and 16, I know that I could get 16, the highest denominator, by multiplying 2 by 8 and multiplying 8 by 2. So this was a step I didn't really need to do. You could do it, but if you can see it, if you can see what you need to multiply by to get the same denominator, you can just skip that step. Now, when you multiply, I like to think of multiplying by 1, because when you multiply something by 1, it doesn't change it, right? Anything multiplied by 1 is still itself. So when we multiply, let's say 1/2 by 8 over 8, 8 over 8 is 1. So we're cool doing that. It's not going to change 1/2. It's just going to change the way it looks. And I want to multiply by 8 over 8 because there's a 2 down here, and 2 times 8 is 16, and that's the denominator I'm going to. So 1/2 times 8 over 8, well, 1 times 8 is 8, and 2 times 8 is 16. So that's my 1/2. And now 3/8, let's do that one. 3/8, what I'm going to multiply by? Well, I need a 2 to get that to be 16 on the bottom, so my version of 1 is 2 over 2. 3 times 2 is 6, 8 times 2, 16, and there's my 3/8. Now I'm just going to rewrite this problem. So I've got 8/16, that's my 1/2. I've got plus 6/16, that's my 3/8, and then minus 5/16. So now we can do the addition and the subtraction, and I'm just going to worry about the top and put that answer over that denominator of 16. So 8 plus 6 minus 5. I think I'm going to do the subtraction first. 6 minus 5 is 1. So that's 1. And 8 plus 1 is 9. So that's a little easier. And then the last step here is to simplify if necessary. I don't have to. How do I know that? Well, you can use some trial and error. Basically, when you're simplifying, you're dividing the top and the bottom by the same thing. But I know that 9, it breaks down into 3 times 3. Those are the prime factors of 9 because 3 is a prime number. And 16 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. That's its prime factorization. And there's nothing on the top and the bottom that's the same that you could cancel. That's a sign that this is in simplest terms. So you may have a different method for figuring that out, but that's how I do it. So 9/16 is our answer on that one. Let's try one more. This one only has addition, so we don't have to deal with subtraction, but I think the denominators are a little tougher here. So 15, 5, and 2, what are we going to have here in common? And the method would be to list out all those multiples of 2, but I'm telling you right now, you'd have to get up to 30 before you found one in common. It might be wise actually to start with the biggest denominator here and do multiples of 15. So I'd go 15, 30, and here I'm going to stop because I can see 30 is even, so I know it's a multiple of 2. 30 is also a multiple of 5 because 5 times 6 is 30. So 30 is the denominator we have to go to. If that didn't make sense, go ahead and list out all those denominators, the 2, 4, 6, 8, until you get up to 30, and then list out the denominators, or sorry, the multiples of 5 and the multiples of 15, and you'll find 30 is the one they have in common. One of the shortcuts I use for this sometimes is I multiply two denominators together, and maybe that's the least common denominator. Sometimes it's not, but often it is. In this case, it is. 2 times 5 is 30. Happens to be 5 is 30 is a multiple of 5 as well. So we're going to go for 30. All right, let's convert these things. What do I have to multiply 8 over 15 by to get to 30? Well, the version of 1 I'm going to use here is 2 over 2, because on the bottom, 2 times 15 is 30. On the top, 8 times 2 is 16, so that's 16 thirtieths. Let's try 4 fifths. So 4 fifths. And what am I going to multiply here to get 30? Well, I need a 6, so I'm going to multiply by 6 over 6. On the top, 4 times 6 is 24. On the bottom, 5 times 6 is 30. So there's my 4 fifths. And finally, 1/2. Now this one I can do in my head. Half of 30 is 15. So this is just going to be 15 over 30. Another way to do that is to take that 1/2 and ask yourself, what do I need to multiply on the bottom to get 30? Well, that'd be 15, so we'll do 15 over 15. And on the top, 1 times 15 is 15, 2 times 15 is 30. You get the same thing. Just a little shortcut in my head there. Okay, now we can line all this up. So we have 16 thirtieths. We have, so that was our 8 fifteenths. And then we have 24 thirtieths. And we have 15 thirtieths. That's our 1/2. So that's a lot. I'm actually going to do this addition problem over here because we're really just adding the tops, right? So it's 16 and 15 and 24. So you could line it up and do it this way. 6 and 5 is 11, plus 4 is 15, carry the 1, and that's 5. So I think I'm getting 55. Another way I might do this in my head is say, well, 15 and 15 is 30. So I could take 1 off of here, call that 15, put the 1 over here. So that'd be 30 plus 25, and that would get me to 55. So that's another little shortcut I use in my head in case it's helpful to you. At any rate, we got 55 thirtieths. Now, is this in simplest terms, or does it need to be reduced? Well, one thing I see here is that I have a 5. This number ends with a 5, and this number ends with a 0. So I know they're both divisible by 5. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Divide by 5 and divide by 5. So 55 divided by 5 is 11, and 30 divided by 5 is 6. So now I have 11/6. 11 is a prime number, so there's nothing we can do to reduce that further. We could make this a mixed number instead of an improper fraction, but I think Alex will accept this just fine the way it is. So our answer there is 11/6. So I hope that helps. I just want to give a shout out to Dane for reminding me to do this video and just being such a good guy and a good student. Thanks, Dane.